Welcome to another edition of Our City. This is Mayor Bollwage, and a few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. Keep in mind that the city of Elizabeth and the county of Union still have plenty of vaccines available. You can visit ucnjvaccine.org, or you can go to our website, elizabethnj.org, or any of our social media sites for information. We should still continue to get vaccinated, even though our numbers of positive cases are extremely low. This past weekend, the whole weekend, we only had 17 cases. And last week, the entire week, we only had about 14 cases for the entire week. And thankfully, we haven't had any deaths in the last 2.5 weeks. But keep in mind, personal responsibility is important. There's a lot of talk about a new variant that may come our way. So in the meantime, if you feel that you need to wear a mask, then wear it. If you're not boosted, then get boosted. There's a lot of things we can do to protect ourselves and our families. If you need any information concerning this or any other events in our city, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. And I'm pleased to be joined on this week's show by Miss Stephanie Lokker. She's a board of director for the NJPCC, the vice president of Supplier Diversity and Certification. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mayor.
So, Stephanie, tell us first, I rattled it off that it was NJPCC, but tell us what that is, please.
Yeah, it's the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce.
And so you're the executive director. How did you wind up there? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I oversee supplier diversity and certification for them. I was appointed to the board in January, but I'm also a business owner. So I'm the managing partner of Lokker B & Co., which is how I became connected with the chamber because I'm a certified business with them. So my company itself does management consulting for Fortune 1000 and private equity companies. And I've found a lot of value within the certification, so I was really excited to join the chamber.
So first, Stephanie, did you come up in New Jersey? Are you a Jersey girl, as they say?
I did. Born and raised. I did most of my schooling here. I did a little bit of schooling in Florida, but then I came running back and I went to Montclair State for my undergrad, and then I went to graduate school at Rutgers.
What school in Florida did you go to? College?
Yeah, I went to college. I went to Edison State Community College down there. It's changed names a few times since then, though.
The reason I ask is my daughter spent a year at the University of Tampa, or Tampa University. So I didn't know if that's maybe where you wound up. It would have been more to talk about.
I know, right? I mean, it's a great area, though. I love Tampa.
So Stephanie, tell us a little bit about your business first.
Yeah, so we're a management consulting firm comprised primarily of other former Big 3, Big 4 consultants. And essentially what we do is we help businesses create solutions for their problems or their business objectives.
So when you talk about solutions, you're talking about IT solutions, press problems, managerial problems, or you just run the gamut? Tell us a little bit about that.
We do a lot of professional services, so procurement transformations, PMO and project management, change management, and a lot of process improvement.
And Stephanie, the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce, how many members make up your team and where are they located?
So it's growing pretty rapidly. We have about 10 other board members. We have a lot of advisory members, and they're located throughout New Jersey.
And how often do you meet, Stephanie?
We meet bi-weekly as a board, and then we meet sporadically with the advisory members, depending on their need and their advice.
Now, one of my notes tell us about the name change. What kind of name change are you going through?
Yeah, so we just rebranded to the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce. And the reason we did that is because previously our name was LGBT. So it wasn't completely inclusive. As the community changes and as that acronym grows, we wanted to kind of get at the forefront of the changes and make sure that we're inclusive from day one. Good.
And how do people become members, and is there a process, and tell us about that process?
Yeah, so they can sign up for membership on NewJerseyPrideChamber.org. If they go onto the website, then there is an outline of how they can become a member, and then they get a notification email. They work with Jake, one of the members on our board of membership. And then from there, if they're able to be an LGBT certified business, then I'll work with them on becoming nationally certified through our national organization called the NJPCC.
So I'm glad you raised that, Stephanie. Are you also part of the blanket New Jersey, the New Jersey and the National U.S. Chamber of Commerce, or you're separate from them?
So we're the New Jersey Chamber, but we work a lot with national, and the certification is national.
But I'm talking about the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, that organization, and the New Jersey State Chamber. Are you an affiliate of those groups?
No, we're affiliated with the NJPCC, which is the National Gay LGBT Chamber of Commerce.
And do they have a headquarters, or are they located somewhere, or they still meet by Zoom, or how do they do things?
Yeah, they've been meeting by Zoom as well. And then we have a yearly meet where we all go to a centralized location. And this year it's going to be in Vegas in August.
It's going to really be tough in Vegas in August, Stephanie.
It's going to be hard. I'm definitely not looking forward to it.
Are you a gambler, Stephanie?
I'm not, but I think I will be.
So you were recently elected to the board of directors. What does this mean to you as well as the New Jersey Pride Chamber? There must be some personal gratification here, as well as the chamber looking forward to you joining the board.
Yeah, so for me, it means a lot. As an LGBT business owner, I feel like I can bring a different perspective. And also I want to create the resources, not only for each individual business, but also for our corporate partners, so that we can create a synergistic relationship so that we can actually get into the procurement pipeline and start diversifying New Jersey's supply chain.
When you talk about diversifying the supply chain, what do you mean by that, Stephanie?
Just so that they can have more diversity in their supplier base. So right now, as far as like the legislation for New Jersey, as an example, LGBTQ businesses aren't currently included in the legislation for the MIMBY-WIMBY program, and neither are disability-owned businesses. So we're working with the governor's office on the executive order for that. And then once that gets passed, hopefully it'll be a larger push in the government level. And then we're also working with all the Fortune 1000 companies within New Jersey, help them understand a better strategy if they don't already have one, to get all of our diverse companies within their procurement pipeline so that it can start expanding the equity, inclusion, and diversity within their organization when they start adapting the suppliers throughout the organization.
So I'm glad you explained that, because as a woman, you would qualify for the what did you say it was? MWB, Minority and Women Business Owners, right? As a woman, you would qualify, but as a gay woman, there is no other avenue to be part of it. Is that correct? That's the struggle?
Correct. So, and then also with set-asides, right now, New Jersey only recognizes small businesses, which I'm also a small business. So each diversity certification does help you in different ways. We're just trying to make sure that it's kind of an even playing field across the board, which hopefully we'll be able to do in the short term here.
So Stephanie, tell me about the certification you spoke about, that you said you would help LGBT businesses get certified. How would you do that? And suppose I owned a business and wanted to get involved, how would I get certified?
So again, they would go on the website and they would sign up, and then I would help them with any of their process throughout. So some businesses, as an example, don't have an operating agreement. So I would help connect them with either another LGBTQ law firm that can help them create an operating agreement, or just a law firm in general that can help them get up and started in their area. And anything that would surround like their actual business structure and any type of pitfalls that might have in order to get certified, because that's what we see. A lot of businesses don't necessarily have the maturity that the national chamber is looking for in order to get certified. So just kind of helping them to get there, and definitely acting as a resource throughout every step of the way.
Stephanie, is there a dues structure for this organization? Is based on the number of employees or based on how big your firm is?
There is, yeah, depending if you're a corporate or individual member, and it also goes based on employees.
And Stephanie, tell us some of the businesses that NJPCC has helped over the last couple of months or years.
Yes, we have actually a pretty good amount of corporate partners. So we work with companies like TD Bank, we work with PSE&G, we work with MarketSmith. So, and then part of my strategy is I'm going through all the Fortune 1000, working with them and either developing a strategy or helping get into their strategy as they've already had one developed and one that's mature. We also work with a lot of the government organizations. So as an example, Jersey City already acknowledges LGBTQ businesses. So working with more of them and trying to kind of streamline that process and having their process become more inclusive.
Stephanie, tell us about you talked about the fees. Are there different levels of membership and benefits?
So there are not different benefits, but there are different levels of membership fees. And then once they become a member, they have access to several resources. And then once they become certified, if they're eligible, they have additional resources. So as an example, we have corporate programs that you can get sponsorship through. So I just got accepted to one with Wells Fargo through the NJPCC, the national corporation. So what that allows me to do is it gives me access to $500 million in capital once I go through this program. It gives me access to other LGBTQ owned businesses. It gives me access to corporate partners that I wouldn't have unless I was certified.
Oh. And in order to get the name out there of this new organization, you must hold events. You must hold types of initiations or, hey, look at us. What kind of events have you held in the past and where throughout the state?
330 million tons of plastic are produced worldwide. Plastic bags are in the top most littered items in New Jersey. Beginning May 4th, New Jersey acts against non-degradable plastics. New Jersey's new statewide law bans all single-use plastic carryout bags and polystyrene foam containers at grocery stores, restaurants, and retail outlets. For more information, visit the City of Elizabeth's website, elizabethnj.org or bagupnj.com.
Se producen 330 millones de toneladas de plástico en todo el mundo. Las bolsas de plástico son los artículos que más se tiran en Nueva Jersey. El 4 de mayo de 2022, Nueva Jersey actúa contra los plásticos no degradables. La nueva ley del estado de Nueva Jersey prohíbe todas las bolsas de plástico de un solo uso y los envases de espuma de poliesterino en las tiendas de comestibles, los restaurantes y los comercios minoristas. Para más información, visite el sitio web de la ciudad de Elizabeth, elizabethnj.org o bagupnj.com.
We actually just held one in Long Branch. It was a brunch. So that was our kickoff signature event for the year. It was pretty successful. We had over 100 attendees, a lot of great corporate partners, a few of the assemblymen came, and a lot of our business owners came as well.
And ESG and DEI, and why should business owners care about those two? First of all, I have to tell you, I'm not familiar with the acronym, so if you can help me out. And then the question, why should business owners care about that?
Yeah, so ESG is environmental social governance. So essentially that embodies sustainability. So with that, we can address first. So as far as sustainability goes, that's the way our future is going from a consumer perspective and also a business perspective. So we should care now as far as helping our strategy get to where we're going to need to be, whether it be your strategy is to be carbon neutral, or net zero, or anything that could help align to the overall goals of our consumers. As an example, a lot of consumers are now looking for things like zero footprint or fair trade or anything that has that signal on it that you are a sustainable company or you're at least at a minimum thinking sustainably. And then the DEI acronym is diversity, equity, and inclusion. A lot of people also add the belonging piece, because they don't want it to only be diverse, equitable, and inclusive, but they want a sense of belonging to all the people that are within those communities.
That's got to be a struggle. That's got to be a struggle not only for gay businesses, but a lot of businesses.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and as a business owner myself, it's really, both points are really important to me. So we have a sustainability commitment where we not only empower our individual employees as an organization, but we also empower the clients that we work with to become more sustainably focused. And then our DE&I goals personally. So my supplier base is 80% diverse. And then all of the people that we hire also have a diverse perspective, whether it be a diverse background with like a human-centric approach, or they speak a different language, or they've lived in another country, through a birthright or some other program. So we really try to embody that as we move forward as a company, and hopefully we will be able to help other companies within our chamber.
Now, does your firm, Lockerbie, actually do a survey to find those questions answered before you would put them as part of your supply chain?
We haven't done a survey. My background is pretty strong in the procurement and supply chain world. So with that, we haven't needed to do a survey, but we are looking to do a survey probably in the future regarding our individual businesses and kind of the way that they're able to work so that I can build educational resources around it.
Probably be a good database to have as your organization grows.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, some of the issues business owners face, and what would your advice be, especially on this supply chain issue that you just spoke about? What would your advice be to fledgling business owners to get involved in DEI and ESG?
I think that some of the challenges is just the lack of education around it. And so my first advice would be to start learning. The more education that they can learn for themselves and also their employees, so that it creates that like systemic approach throughout the organization and can actually drive a sustainable change throughout the organization. And then that has a really strong trickle-down effect to their consumers, to the partnerships that they create. So just get involved, be proactive, and start developing a strategy.
And Stephanie, as a vice president of supplier diversity, you've done a pretty good job explaining exactly what you do there. How do you then help, say, businesses who either don't care about these two issues, are not on the horizon of a company? How do you help explain diversity to businesses like that?
Well, I try to explain to them the benefits of it. And also there's, a significant amount of benefits, not only for the supply chain, but also for the employees that work within the organization. So by just kind of reiterating those, and then most companies will at least dip their toe in it and just kind of get to understand it, start developing just a basic understanding is all I ask. And then once they see some value from that, hopefully it starts expanding. And that's typically the route that we see, is that they see a lot of value in a myriad of different areas, and then it starts expanding their need and desire to really get involved.
Yeah, you know what? The reason I asked that question, Stephanie, is because before I was a mayor, I was in sales, and a lot of times when I would approach a client, either a client that I had for a while or someone new, they're pretty set in their ways, and trying to get them to look at the issues you're talking about may be difficult, even for gay business owners that are set in their ways.
Yeah, that's certainly true, especially if there's no legislation behind it. It can be really difficult. So just trying to explain the benefits of it. And also there seems to be a pretty strong consumer driven desire for that. So as they start to better understand the needs for their consumer, that seems to also help drive some of the interest. There's also just, a significant amount of money from LGBT consumers. So even just if it's the business aspect of that, they have to be able to see that and understand that if they're going to want a strong LGBT consumer base, then they're going to have to also work with LGBT suppliers.
So therefore, you lead to the next question, which is, how do you create more opportunities for diverse suppliers?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're trying to do is work with our corporate and government partners on helping them create a strategy that creates opportunities. So it's definitely a longer process. There are some that are significantly more advanced than others, but we're trying to help everybody kind of get on the same page and get as much involved as we can.
Stephanie, my notes indicate an ally. I would imagine that's a non-gay business, and the opportunities to be part of NJPCC. How do they go about that?
Yeah, so an ally is exactly that. It's like a supporting person that is not part of the community, person or business that is not part of the community. So they can get involved by being a member. They can still come to our networking events. They can use our resources. They can come to any of our signature events, and we love to have them there. We love to see allies. We have a significant amount of allies. They always show up and help and really try to uplift our community, which is extremely appreciated.
So Stephanie, before we close, how do people find more information about the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce? How do they contact? What's the public information there?
Yeah, if they go to newjerseypridechamber.org, Then we have our events listed there. We have myself listed there and a way to contact me if they wanted to contact me directly via email. They can also sign up for membership there and they can learn more about our certification process. We'll also be posting a lot more resources for businesses on there as well. So I encourage them to check back in a few months if they don't see something that they align with today.
Stephanie, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show today and appreciate all of your insight, especially to an organization that I was not familiar with until we chatted. So I thank you very much because it was a learning experience for me as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time. It's extremely nice to meet you. I loved reading about you before our call. Love how you're a true New Jerseyan, 30 years as a mayor. So pretty impressive background.
Hope to see you again in person, Stephanie.
You as well.
Mayor Chris Bollwage, I want to thank Ms. Stephanie Lokker, the Board Director for the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce and the Vice President of Supplier Diversity and Certification for taking the time to join us on this show, and look forward to seeing you next week on another edition of Our City.